This is the Milo Beasley Show. This is the Milo Beasley Show. There's only one thing you need to know. This is the Milo Beasley Show. And now, here's your host, Milo Beasley.
And welcome to the Milo Beasley Show. Episode number 316. We'll call it 316, maybe 3. I don't know. I have a lot of, injuries. Anyways, I'm super excited for our next guest. So please, without further ado, please help me welcome at this time award-winning pet sitter. Please help me welcome Heather Branch. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you for having me on your show. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this is I'm super interested. I've never had anybody with your qualifications as far as a pet sitter and anybody really who is in tune with animals. I know I have a lot of pet owners. I'm a pet owner. I have a dog and a cat myself. But I know I have a lot of people who probably have a lot of questions that they need answers, especially considering the past 18 months.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely get to questions around that. So, but I for starters, before you got into this business, you were actually in the entertainment business. You did a couple movies here and there.
Yeah, I moved out here for my acting career. I was real serious about that. I did a few low budget things. I kind of made a little bit of a claim to fame there in the horror world. And then I got into radio. So that was really fun too. And I did traffic reports out here, which hopefully that won't ever go away out here in Los Angeles.
Oh, that's
job security. Right?
Traffic report. Yes.
Yeah. And I met my husband out here. He's an airborne. He flies about in the air. He's up in the air right now, flying around, giving people rush hour traffic.
Or plane?
In a plane now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I was looking for just a little more balance. Since he works weekdays and I was working weekends and overnights and things like that. And I thought, what else do I like? And I love pets. I loved my pet. I loved my dog. I had a lot of experience with my cat that was sick. So I just felt like, my heart was there. I'll try that. And then I've been doing this for 10 years now. Yeah. Day in, day out.
So where did you said you moved to LA. Where did you move from?
I moved from New York. And then before that, I grew up in Pennsylvania, right underneath Buffalo, New York. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I grew up in the coldest spot in the nation. And now I really love being out here in the warm weather.
Oh, yeah. Loving. Yeah. No snow.
No snow. Yeah.
Right. That's I live in Orlando. So.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on that same, we obviously get a lot more rain than you get, but weather-wise, I'd rather deal with rain, than deal with the snow, because the snow just lingers and it's cold.
Yeah.
I don't do the cold, so.
Me either, not anymore.
So you got involved. Did you go to any? Did you have to go to any classes or veterinary type schooling? Prior to starting your business?
Well, that's one thing that I really feel that I laid my foundation, because while I was in radio, I was thinking, what else do I like? What else do I like? And I really love my dog, and I had that experience with my cat, but I thought, I've only ever had one dog. I mean, that'd be just silly. And we had a wonderful pet sitter, and that's where I got the idea. So it was totally different. She was professional than, when you have your friends help you out, and then they forget, or it's like, oh, I'm supposed to scoop the litter box. And it's like, when we came home from her, it was a wow experience. The house was clean, the pets were happy. So then I started thinking, you can really do this for a living. I started thinking about that. It planted the seed. And then, so I went to the Animal Behavior College. And which I was kind of thinking about it, and then I thought, is this a scam? On a lot of online learning, and I just took a lot of time to think about it. I called them up, and then I found out the actual headquarters was located not far from where I lived. So I drove by and went in, and made sure it wasn't, some fly-by-night thing. And so, yeah, I learned veterinary assistantship and also dog obedience training. So I did that. It took a year of online study and then mentorship. I had to work behind the scenes at a vet office, at a shelter. I had to work with a dog trainer. So yeah, and then by that time I called my pet sitter and asked, is this, I didn't want to step on her toes, because she was so good. So she was nice enough to bring me on and teach me how to do things. And there's an association for professional pet sitters. So she got me into that. And now I'm on the board of directors. So it was a journey.
Did you think that when you started, you would be on the board of directors of a pet sitting organization?
No, I mean, I just thought that I just thought at the time that I would be working maybe I'd do overnights for a couple people and I'd work 2 weeks out of the month. And I don't know what happened, but I work 24/7, 365. It kind of exploded on me. And my pet sitter moved on to do other things. So our companies merged.
Okay.
And it just took on a life of its own. So, yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of folks out there, you've probably heard it. Folks watching this right now, they can, you're a dog sitter. So what? But what,
yeah.
What are you able to, what kind of advice or knowledge are you able to bring to the table as opposed to just somebody who walks a dog?
Well, the first thing I did was I got that training, that background training, because, I'm sure that in these down times, worrying about what am I going to do for work, and everyone loves pets. I'm sure it occurs to a lot of people I'll just start pet sitting and that's easy. I wouldn't do that. There's plenty of companies that need help. I would work as an employee somewhere. And then you have time, you can have time off and things like that. So, and then you get knowledge, and my national association really helps with a lot of education. We do conferences and online trainings, and really dog walking is not for the faint of heart, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong when you walk a dog.
Right.
And there's a lot of liability to this job. So there's a lot of things to think about. I do have pet sitting insurance. And I definitely would recommend that if somebody was going to get into it, or if you are hiring a pet sitter, you want to ask if they have insurance. Yeah. So what do you do for your dog and cat when you go out of town?
We send them to doggy daycare at a country club.
Oh, very nice.
They take amazing care of our animals. And so, yeah, it's, but I think it's important that you don't just leave your animals at home. Why would, if somebody was like, oh, well, I'll just, leave out a puppy pad or just fill up the cat bowl, go for a week. Why is that important to not do that?
Well, I do have the people leave their animals at home, but I come into the home. So
right. I'm talking about with
nobody coming in at all. Yeah.
Right.
So many things could go wrong. I mean, a lot of people do that with their cats, and I used to do that. I mean, gosh, I don't even want to tell you all the things I did with my cats. I'd go for a long weekend, and here's some food. I got a big litter box. Yeah, everybody's good. And anything can go wrong. I mean, they could get stuck on something with their collar, and then they could. I mean, I don't want to go into negative things, but if you stay awake at night like I do and think of all the things that could go wrong, there's a lot of that could go wrong, even with the cat, So, and the dogs really need, and that's why we went the professional route too, because, cats are more independent, but dogs, my friends would have lost my dog. I mean, if you open the door the wrong way, there goes your dog,
That's my dog. That's my dog. There's countless times I've had to chase my dog down the road. So
yeah, and you don't want to chance it. That's why you take them to a professional place. You don't want to chance, hating your friends for losing your dog.
Oh my gosh, right.
Yeah.
So you're based, you're northern Los Angeles?
Yeah, I live in Northridge,
Okay.
where the earthquake was many years ago.
So being in LA, what's the most famous client that you're allowed to tell us that you've worked with?
They don't like you to tell, you sign confidentiality agreements
Right, that's why
and all
I had to
that.
preface
But
that.
I do a lot of, actually, it segued into the music industry somehow. So I had a lot of successful musicians. Let's just say that, that had me sign. Yeah.
If I mention one, I know you're not allowed to say. Just give me like a wink. So it's like P. Diddy, Kanye.
I don't think that big, but they're working musicians with
Rick
bands.
Springfield. That's my speed. I'm
yeah.
Paul McCartney, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we do. We're capable of handling that, and I'm capable of keeping my mouth shut.
Right, because they have to trust you. You're going into their houses.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be able to trust that, one, you're not going to take anything.
Right.
Two, you're not going to invite people over.
Right.
You're not going to tell people where they live, and they have to trust you with their animals.
Right. Right. Yeah. Everything. Mm-hmm.
And I heard you mention that, one of the reasons why you went into the professional realm. And as I said, when I introduced you, award-winning 2014 Business of the Year by the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters.
Yes.
I mean, that's a pretty big honor in your world, right?
Oh, yeah. The National Association of Professional Pet Sitters is, they have about 2,000 members, or I should say we, because it's made up of pet sitters and pet sitters are on the board. So 2,000 pet sitters from all over the country. So to get that honor 3 years in was really a thrill, and just we had we had a big thing in the article in the magazine, and I don't know, I just put myself into it too. You get out of it what you put in. Right. So I volunteer. I help on the conference committee. We have conferences. We have a conference coming up, and we have different people coming in to speak to us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So who knew it was a business? Because I see on the Nextdoor app, I'm sure y'all have that, and people ask all the time, "Oh, is anybody know a pet sitter?" And then people put out, "Oh, I know this girl, that guy, whatever." But I want to say, are they professional? Because are they going to bring a friend in with them? That's just, I have a lot of boundaries, and I do have staff, but it's all professional, background checks. I train them. We work together. We're on the same page. It's not a party. So, yeah.
Now again, I mentioned something that I definitely want to talk about, and that is during this pandemic, for the past 12, 18 months, everybody's been working at home, and it's been great. You've been able to work from home, the dog right next to me on one side, cat right next to me on the other, and then go back to work.
Right.
How do you, I guess, wean your dog into accepting that you are going to be gone again and not home all the time?
Well, that's a good question, because the thing is, the dogs loved it. As somebody would call them all the time. The cats might have been a little bit more like, you leaving yet? I need my me time, meow time. But the dogs loved it. But now we have to get them all. And a lot of people adopted new dogs too, puppies. So they've never even had. I mean, the older dogs might be like, "Oh, it's back to this again." All right. But the puppies don't know,
Right.
So,
absolutely.
So I would suggest leaving the house in increments, getting them used to that. 5 minutes, even if it's that bad. 5 minutes, come back with a treat. You're leaving, 10 minutes. Okay, I come back. You always come back with a treat. And they don't really know time. They just know you're there or you're not. So build up, go out for a walk, go out for friends for an hour, build it up. And then I'd suggest having a professional pet sitter or a dog walker come in too in the middle, because you don't want to leave a dog alone 8 to 12 hours a day. I mean, that's too much on their bladders. They need somebody.
Right.
So,
do dogs know time? Like, do they know the difference between 5 minutes and 5 hours?
I don't think so.
No,
you're either there or you're not.
Right. And then when you come home, they're happy to see you regardless.
And that 5 minutes might be like 5 hours to them.
Right.
It's just.
Are there any what signs should people be looking for animals that are having this separation anxiety?
Well, when you come home and your house is torn up, there you go.
Right.
But or your neighbors are complaining. We can hear them barking, and even inside the house, that's sad, or screaming or whatever. So crate training is great. My dog is crate trained. He came that way from my neighbor, and I mean, if I need to put him in the crate, he knows he's in there. That's a safe spot. It's not a punishment.
Right.
But then if you wait too long, then they don't understand the crates, and then they think it's a punishment. So then there's a problem with that. I had one of my clients' puppies. They just decided to put him in a crate on one Saturday. And he busted out of it and hurt himself. Yeah, so you got to do the crate incrementally too, 5 minutes in. And then even when you're there, so they see you're doing your thing, and that's a safe spot. You give them a treat in the crate. You're still doing things. It's a nice place for them.
Right.
Give maybe a Kong, those Kong toys.
The Kong ball. Yeah.
You could put some peanut butter in, maybe even freeze it, and then give them something to do in there. So toys. Squeaky toys, you don't want to leave squeaky toys with them without supervision, because they can tend to open them up and then swallow the squeaker.
Yeah. Why do dogs open up like my dog is insane when it comes to squeak toys. Like she knows right where the seam is and will gnaw right where the seam is to get that. What is it about the squeak toys that they just have to get to?
It's just what, the thing, they get to it, and they got it, Shay. And I had a dog right in front of me. He would take toys, and he would do it right in front of me, and I didn't see it. He hit it, and he would just look like the toy would look intact in the front, but on the back end, he was working on it. And then, like, oh my gosh, stuffing. Then he'd poop out stuffing. No more toys for you. I have a note on I have a little folder for everybody, and there's a big Post-it note on that. No toys for him.
Right. Now, like I said, I'm in Orlando, so being able to use you, like many of my viewers all over the country, obviously not going to be able to get to LA, but what tips would you give folks watching on what to look out for, what to do when searching for a qualified pet sitter?
I really like that you put qualified there. I like that. Qualified pet sitter. Well, first you could go to our National Association website, which is petsitters.org.
Okay.
And it's a nonprofit association, and it's comprised of pet sitters helping other pet sitters. And there's 2,000 members from all over the country. And right at the top of that website is Find a Pro. So you could go in there, find a pro, put in your zip code, and then there'll be some sitters hopefully in your area. Now I'm certified. So that means I took, it took like 4 months to go through that testing. So I got the certification badge, and then we keep that up with service to the organization or service in the community, to classes. So, I'm always certified. So you want to maybe see somebody who's certified in some way. And there's another organization too, and they have certified pet sitters too. So somebody who has insurance for sure, pet sitting specific insurance. Yeah.
Is this just a way for you to play with other people's dogs?
Sometimes I feel that way. When I first started, I thought it would be that way, but it's a lot of work. I mean, my pet sitter said, hey, well, why don't you come work for me? And her experience was people would come and help her for 2 weeks and then be like, no, not for me. Because it turns into a janitorial job a lot of time. You're on your knees cleaning poop and, I mean, getting slobber all over your clothes, just, looking for threats when you're out walking the dog. I mean, a lot of dogs are off leash. They can come right at you. You got to be protective. Or I've had a couple leash malfunctions before, and I've never lost a dog, but
never lost a dog yet. Knock on wood.
And I know that that's a possibility, and it's serious. It's not my pet, and our pets are our babies now, right? I mean, I'd be so horrified. But I have heard, I'm walking the dog. I get bent down to pick up, whatever. And I hear the clink of the leash on the ground. And the dog and I look at each other, and it's like, he realizes at that moment, I'm free. And it's happened to me twice, and those dogs thankfully ran home. So, if they know where home is, that's good.
Right. So a thing I like to do on my show is called the Milo Beasley Show Frequently Asked Questions.
Okay.
This is going to be the same 5 questions that I ask to every guest. So these are not dog related. I mean, they can be, I suppose. But
okay.
All right. So are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Question number 1.
Yes.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Scott Baio.
Scott Baio.
Yeah, Scott
All right.
Baio.
All right, Chachi.
But I married Scott Bird, so that was like similar. Scott Bird is my husband.
So like,
sometimes I think I attracted this somehow.
So Chachi or Charles in Charge?
Chachi.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I still think he's cute. So we're both married now.
Hey, you never know. Is he on the list?
Oh no. I think he lives in my territory.
All right, question number 2. What is your guilty pleasure song?
I really loved Queensryche back in the day, like Operation Mindcrime. I mean, those songs, that album gives me energy. Yeah.
I thought for sure you were going to say Who Let the Dogs Out. You probably hate that song at this point, right?
Yeah, probably.
All right. So this is an if you had to, if your life depended on it, would you rather fight 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Maybe 1 giant duck, because I do have experience with chickens, so.
Well, I mean, just think, like, if you were to, if they were dogs and there were 100 dogs.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to. No, I think you got to go after the 1, right?
Yeah. Especially like 100 chihuahuas. That's what I'm imagining. Oh, yeah, that's tiny. Like,
I'm gonna change. I should change my question. I should change my question to 100 chihuahuas. All right.
Chihuahuas can be mean. There's a couple that I'm actually like. They look at me and I look at them like, you're 4 pounds, but I can't get near you.
I used to have one. So great cuddler, but very, very vicious. All right. Question number 4. What is your favorite movie quote?
Oh boy. Favorite movie quote. I never thought of it before. I really have no clue.
Nothing?
I'm going blank. I don't know.
I know. I'm putting you on the spot. All right. So question number 5. Maybe we'll come back to it. Maybe
okay, right.
Yeah, that one. All right.
Okay.
Let's fill in the blank. If blank was an Olympic sport, I would win a gold medal.
Walking dogs. Because I walk sometimes 8 hours a day.
Do you have like a Fitbit or a Apple Watch that keeps track of your steps?
No, I don't.
You should you totally need like a Fitbit to see how many steps you walked.
Yeah, no, I told you it went from like, it just kind of went in a different direction, and now it's like I can't stop walking. So, yeah.
And then the second of our two little mini games here is called the Milo Beasley Show Top 5. And this one is going to be dog related because I'm going to ask you your top 5. And this is going to be hard. Top 5 breeds of dog.
Okay. Labs are really nice. Mellow, usually friendly and easy to walk, and kind of slow if something happened on the leash. So you could.
I can see why that could be your favorite.
Yeah. Let's see. I think Chihuahuas might be last. I like bigger dogs. I like a nice big, like German Shepherds. You know, when you get that bond.
Right.
I like little white dogs, just in general.
Okay.
Yeah, like it could be a poodle, it could be a Shih Tzu, it could be a Fox Terrier. Little white dogs. So I just put them all in that category.
Little white dogs. Okay.
3. And my dog that you met earlier,
yes,
that he got down. He's a Bouvier de Flanders. So I like that medium-sized working dog.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you watch a lot of the dog shows on like TV?
I think I want to be on some of the dog shows on TV.
All right. Yeah. I mean, you've already got the walking part done.
Right. So, yeah. Sometimes I watch things here and there, and I just think they need a pet sitter to do a cameo. So.
Maybe. Or, I mean, you gotta think like the owner can't be with their pet the entire time. They need somebody. They need somebody there.
Yeah. Yeah. My job consists mostly of visits rather than sit and stay all day.
Okay.
So we come in and out of the houses, and then I can just go from house to house to house. Yeah.
Like we mentioned at the very beginning, you did do, like you said, you did do some lower budget horror movies. Has anybody who's ever hired you been like, wait a minute, weren't you on blah blah blah? Weren't you on Creepers too?
They haven't, not that I can think of. It's kind of been a separate. I compartmentalize my life too, so I don't really bring that up either. So they only know me as the dog walker. Yeah. So, or the cat sitter.
I mean, that's definitely not a bad thing to be known as.
Yeah. And I still keep my hand in the horror genre. I love that genre. My friend is doing some films coming up that I'm helping her out with, and maybe I'll be in one or two of them. So I can still
get back into it.
Get
back into it. So before we wrap up, where can folks find you? Either social medias or your website for Best Friends?
Yeah, my social media is BFF Pet Sitting, Facebook and Instagram, and my website is you could go to heatherthepetsitter.com. So that's the easiest, most memorable domain name that I have, and that's Best Friends Forever is my name of my company. So, and I'm happy to answer questions or help people, steer people in the right direction. Because to me, getting the right person, a professional person to watch your pet is really important to me. Nobody's pet needs to be lost. Your house doesn't need to be.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why I want to get out the word out. So.
Right. Even if it's not you want to make sure that the pets are taken care of.
Yeah.
Anything else before we wrap up here?
I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the movie quotes. You know, when I was younger, I really loved the movie Bugsy Malone with Scott Baio in it. So probably anything in there, you know. I loved Jodie Foster in it and all her lines, and the whole thing was great. So that was my favorite movie when I was growing up.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me this afternoon. Again, fans, go to the socials. If you have questions, Heather will be happy to chat with you to make sure that your dogs and cats, even though, you know, cats are, you know,
they're just sure we love them too.
Make sure that they are happy and healthy. So thank you very much for chatting with me. And everyone else, we will see you next week.